Welcome everyone to Red Rock Chess. Today we're having a special episode. Guess who is playing? Today we are going to be reviewing one of the top players, potentially, or we could just be reviewing a top streamer. We could be reviewing 100 ELO chess, and it is your job throughout this whole entire game to determine whose playstyle it could be. And it's going to be a really thrilling game. I'm really excited to show it to you guys. So let's get right into the game. So the game starts off with the move d4. The queen's pawn is pushed up to the center of the board. It's to attack the center of the board, and it's just a really solid start. And the the black pieces decides to move their queen's pawn to d5. And this is a very standard game. It's the second most popular strategy besides e4 and e5, which is then started by the Trompowsky attack. This Trompowsky is when you bring out the bishop as the white pieces and just starting to create a line of attack against the queen. It is promptly attacked by black's pieces that pushes it out, which the options are to either drop back on the h-file or bring the bishop back. And white is a very aggressive player. One of the best at playing this opening and is very notorious for their attacks with the Trompowsky. And shifts their bishop back to the h-file. And black decides to start developing their pieces. They bring out their knight to the g3 square, or the g6 square, the f6 square, and it's a really good developing move. You have the opportunity to bring it to the center later on. It also allows you to start building your side of the board. And this player decides to make a really good move, developing their knight. The point of this move is to eventually bring your knight to the b3 square, or also to the f3 square. Great move by black, where they push out their pawn to start attacking the center of the board. There's nothing really to protect this pawn right here, so they see that it's a weakness, and that's the motive behind playing c5. And then e3 is played in counter to start to defend this weak d pawn that has no backup, and they play knight c6 to start to apply some more pressure. They want to make sure that there's a lot of pressure on this weak d4 pawn, but is eventually looking at ways to bring out the knight, and that'll also let the queen start defending and the knight. The only problem with that now is that the pawn can be pushed and kick the knight right back out. If there ever is this, then there is the threat of just pushing up the pawn and eventually capturing with the bishop right here. And what was played was c3. And this is a popular move in the London system, in the Trompowsky. It is just to create a solid chain link of pawns. So if ever one was captured, you can just pick up from where you feel most comfortable. Most of the time, taking towards the center of the board is best practice. And black decides to push out their pawn, and black promptly captures it. And great start to the game. So this is a very solid game of chess. Everybody is playing at their best level. And the move that follows is the knight from g to f3. So knight f3 is a really solid. It's bringing the knight into the game. It's also attacking this knight, which has no defense, and so it's just a solid structural move to be able to develop all your pieces on your king side, and eventually looking at like giving a check and then castling, or even just really solidly just bringing this out to get your bishop into the game. Black decides to move their knight back and protect it. Very, very good move. It allows for the ability to push this pawn in the future, and it's not blocking anything. It's just an overall really good move. This bishop did get developed to the d3 square for the main purpose of being able to eventually eye down the king if it were ever to castle on this side. It's also great because it can just drop back and do what it needs to if it was ever to get put under attack. And bishop e7 is what black played and counter. The main reason why they played this is not only to defend their knight, but also looking at castling here in the near future. And both sides decide to castle. Just to protect the king, it's usually very best practice to put your king into a safe position. Castling is what it's called within the first 10 moves of the game. That is usually the best case scenario, is to have your king castled in the first 10 moves of the game and start building your structure. So both sides right now are looking at bringing their rooks into the game, eventually potentially starting a kingside attack. There's many different things that can benefit both sides. We'll probably be seeing the bishop coming out. We'll see these pawns start to coming and attacking on the A file, the B file, just to start getting some counterplay going. And just like I said, the rook has been coming out. It's going to start attacking. The bishop starts coming out, and the point of this is to pin it to the king and also develop your bishop. It's better than sitting on the normal square, and you don't really want to block your queen or block this open file. You really want to be able to move your bishop and get your rook on this open file for this rook and stop any counterplay from white or attacks. This is a great move for white for a couple of different reasons. It does connect their rooks, which is a really important thing in chess. In the end game, you always want to make sure that your rooks are connected. It's really, really good if you're able to do that. And the point of bringing the queen out is it starts to create weaknesses on all points of the board. Not necessarily attacking anything since everything is defended, but it starts to create holes in black's defense. And noticing that, black decides to capture the knight, and it is promptly recaptured by the other knight. And the reason for this right here is to be able to get this really powerful bishop off the side of the board. They didn't want to have a pin to it, and so the best case scenario for white is just to drop back and start attacking the king. And a good thing for white to also do is potentially bringing this queen up right here and start looking at attacking the king side. And black plays a phenomenal move doing two things at once. Not only does it cut off the queen's access to go across, it also attacks this bishop, which means that this bishop is going to have to drop back, and it definitely doesn't want to move that far forward, because if it does, there is just the chance that it will get attacked again. So the bishop gets all the way brought back, which is an absolutely great move by white. And the thought of that is to potentially drop back the queen, potentially start creating some attacks on their king, and that's exactly what white does. And so a couple different moves for black right here is to move the black pawn up one square and kind of to defend it that route. The other route is to just move the knight right in front. That also attacks, but you don't want to take until you get this pawn defended. And that pawn did get pushed forward by black. Great move. It's kind of just an all-around solid move because now it can't be taken. And white starts to attack the center of the board, get things going. Black just decides that it's a good opportunity to bring a bishop in, develop the bishop in a better square. Always be on the lookout for putting your pieces in the best squares possible. And this is where white decides that they want to be attacking this pawn right here. It is a weakness since there is only one piece defending it, and that's the queen. And then so black shifts their knight back to start defending it. Great solid move. The white bishop gets brought back into play. Absolutely great move. And the point of this move is to attack this weak b2 pawn. And so white shifts over their pawn to defend it, and black starts to bring their rook back. And notice how both rooks are all connected on both. Then this is a sign of really high level players. And white decides to move their pawn into the middle of the board. Really, really strong move right here. And black moves their bishop back, a very strong positional move. And the point of this move right here is to just simply pin this right here, and it's also just attacking this this knight right here, so it forces it to move. And black decides that they're okay trading their bishops, but white is not okay with that. And that's because this bishop right here is a really strong bishop for many different reasons. It has a really long diagonal where, as you can see, this is seeing straight through the knight and a couple of pawns, so not as good as an open bishop. So that's why black wants to trade it off, since the white bishop is a little bit better than the black bishop. And this right here is a good move. It centralizes the rook a little bit, and it has two open files for the black knights, or the black castles, to really start attacking and putting some pressure on white. White shifts the queen over, potentially looking at moving the bishop, or letting the bishop have a direct line of fire on attacking the king's pawns, moving the queen in, starting to attack and really start putting some pressure on the future of the black king. And great move by black, just kind of the opportunity just to attack the knight, start attacking the middle of the board. Black does capture, which is captured by the e-pawn, and it's just a solid game. We are 26 moves in. There has been no major blunders, very solid positional, and as we're coming up to the end of the game, I just want to say I want you guys to type down in the comment section right now, pause the video, type in the comment section who you think is playing this game of chess. And when I reveal it at the end, type in the comment section down below if you were right, if you were close, and if you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe to get more content like this. White decides to push their h-file pawn all the way up. The point of this is to create counterplay, attack the black king, and it is promptly shut down by the h-pawn of black, pushing it forward so that there is no possible movement for white to use their pawns to start creating weaknesses on the black king side. This is a great move because it starts to open up this e-file. Queen is moved over to potentially look at trading this here in the near future if this pawn were to ever get traded, and it's also to allow these queenside pawns to start attacking and causing some movement on that side. And white decides they wanted to double up on their rooks, and black decides that they just want to trade. And so the king slides out of the way to avoid any possible checks, and the players start to trade pieces. And like I said previously, black starts trying to push their pawns on the queen side just to create some counterplay, and white is starting to develop their defense on that side. Black pushes their pawns, and this is just a very solid structural game. You see a lot of great movement by both players. There you can see that we finally start to push the kingside pawns, starting to create some holes, and white attacks and takes, and this is where we see a lot of good movement. And the point of this move right here is to check the king. The king can ultimately take this right here, but the point behind it is that you will take this rook right there, this knight, and if the rook takes back, you kind of just give a check right here, and then you're able to ultimately gain that back. If it does block, then you can just take it right back, since there is a pawn right here to help. And so with that, the black pieces does notice that, and and white is trying to attack the black king. He does trade, take the knight, sacrifice the knight for the rook. And the reason being that he doesn't take this right now is because he wants to double up and have 2 attackers on this instead of 1. And there is no way for white to be able to defend, so the only possible move is really just to give a check, move the king, and in this case white decides to give a check. They take, and he takes this piece right here to ultimately solidify the game and finish out a very strong game. And before I announce who this player was, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching today's video. The player that was in this game is Gotham Chess. Many of you know him as Gotham on YouTube, or Levi Rozman. Absolute phenomenal player. He was playing with the white pieces, and his opponent on the other side was Giuseppe Levia, another phenomenal player. So if you guys want to see more good videos like this, make sure to drop down in the comment section what you guys want to learn, what you guys want to see, and I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your afternoon. Thank you guys.